So I've got a review video for you today on the Smashbox Double Exposure Palette. I just recently picked this up. I do have a blog post on this already, so I will link that down below for you if you want to check that out. In this review video, I'm going to do like I always do. I'll show you the packaging, we'll talk about pricing, I'll show you swatches, and I am going to show you swatches wet because that's kind of a big push with this palette. Is they're saying you don't just get 14, you get 28 shadows with this palette. So we'll kind of see what we think about that. So we'll look at them dry as well as wet. And then I'll just kind of give you my overall thoughts and opinions on this palette. So let's jump in. Starting with pricing and packaging, the price of this palette is $52 and you get 17 grams of product. This is what the outside box looks like. I think it's really nice. It's very kind of artistic and modern. I really like that it's black with all white writing. Reminds me of the Full Exposure palette. I don't own that one, but from what I can remember, it looks very similar to this. So I do really like the packaging. You get a little pamphlet inside that has some different looks, and it even talks about like your eye shape, which is really cool. So you can kind of know like what different looks work for your particular eye shape. So that's really neat. And then you do get a little sample size of the Full Exposure mascara. I did use that today and I do really like it. I'll have to let you know if it smudges on me on my eyelid because most every mascara does. But on initial application, I do really like it. It seemed to build nicely and give length and some volume. So I think it's a pretty nice mascara. I'm kind of liking it. And then this is what the actual palette looks like. It's a really nice kind of hard cardboard, so it feels very sturdy, which I like. The back is very kind of standard. It does say that you can scan this little guy or either go to smashbox.com and you can get looks for your eye shape. So I guess, I don't know if it's these or if it's more, but that's cool that they're giving you different suggestions. But yeah, I really like the look of the palette. I think it's cool with its kind of metallic sheen. Here is the actual palette. You do get a mirror behind here, but I don't want to blind you. So you can see it's a nice collection of kind of warm tones. You know, you've got your warm tones over here, but then you've got your cool tones like purples and blues on this side. So that's really what kind of originally intrigued me about this palette, is that it's not a naked palette. It's not even the Full Exposure 1 palette. You know, with these over here, it really kind of makes it different. And it's still neutral, because these can still be very wearable colors. This one's a little bit more challenging, but purples can be very wearable. But it's still just something different, you know what I mean? So I really like the collection of colors that they put in this palette. I do really like that they did some more kind of cool tones and just different sort of colors. So I like what they picked to put in this palette. But yeah, there is the palette. So let's look at some swatches. Okay, so here are all the swatches of the top row. So over here they're applied dry, and over here they're applied wet with Max Fix Plus. And I forgot to mention you do get a double-sided brush with this palette. So I did use this side of the brush to apply these. So we're going to start right here. This one is Silver, Mauve, Peony, Blanc, Quartz, Flushed, and Veiled. Veiled is kind of hard to see on my skin tone, but it's kind of a creamy peachy shade. But as you can see, there's really just not a huge difference between wet and dry on these shadows, at least for the top row. Some of them got a little bit more metallic, but not by a lot. And using them wet is just a little bit more high maintenance in my opinion. So for me, I would probably just apply them dry, at least for the top row. So now let's look at the bottom row. Okay, and same as before, these are applied dry on this side and these are applied wet. So right here we've got Midnight, Temper, Haze, Noir, Copper, Fig, and Espresso. So you can kind of see some of them definitely get more vibrant, like the metallics, but the mattes, things just get weird when they're applied wet. They get patchy and just strange. So yeah, there are all those swatches. Okay, let's talk about the formula on these shadows. I think it's interesting that they market it as you don't just get 14, you get 28 shadows with this palette, because I don't notice that the formula on these is any different than any other eyeshadow. I was hoping it would be more like a baked shadow where you could get your brush wet and dip it down into it without ruining your shadow. But I pretty much almost ruined Fig and Espresso by doing that. These two right here, I was trying when I was doing my blog post, and then also in this video. On the blog post, I was using my finger and got that wet, and then put it into that, almost ruined them. And then today I got the brush wet, dipped it down into it, same thing. I do think that the brush makes a difference. This works much better than trying to swatch with my finger wet. This definitely makes a difference. But yeah, it just almost ruined these, which that's what a regular shadow would do. So these seem to be the exact same type of formulation as any shadow. So any shadow, you could apply it wet, you could get it on your brush and then wet your brush and have a different look, have a second shadow. So I don't really think that that's any kind of appeal with this palette. That's just kind of something that they're saying. You know, as far as using them dry, I do like them. I don't think I love them. I think they work well on the eyes. I'll let you know about the wear time. I'll make an annotation. They do work fine. I wouldn't say that I love them, but you know, once I got it on my eyes, it's kind of growing on me. I wish they would have marketed it differently. I think that's just kind of a little bit deceiving because the formula really doesn't seem like it can be used wet in any way, like either with, you know, your brush wet or your finger wet or something like that. That just really doesn't work. You have to get it on the brush first, then wet the brush, which is what you would do with any shadow. All right guys, so that's my review on the Smashbox Double Exposure Palette. So I hope that you really enjoyed this video, and I hope that it answered some of your questions about this palette. If there's something that I missed, or if you have more questions for me, just ask those down below. I'm always happy to answer those. Let me know your thoughts on this palette. What do you think about it? Are you eyeing it? What do you think about the 14 shadows becoming 28? Do you agree with that? What do you think? Let me know down below. Please subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!